Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So, I hear on the streets, I say here on the streets, that's so dumb. Word on the streets is that we've got some interesting patch notes to cover, and whenever we do, we cover them. So, let's do it. Awkward intro aside, you guys know what to do. Press all of the cool, funny YouTube buttons. They help out, so on and so forth. Funny enough, when I say subscribe, so remind you guys to subscribe, the little subscribe button lights up. Did it light up? Go look at it. Anyway, so apparently we have some patch notes. Occasionally they put out some patch notes and some major changes happen, and we can go over them. A lot of times this is empty, but every once in a while you get some juicy info. And since we will have some class changes, apparently, or at least from what people are saying, Fighter might have stolen the show on the update or on the class expansion. Apparently, they may have stolen the show from Waker's class expansion. Hopefully, fingers crossed that everyone got good stuff. Everyone's got good eats. But let's see what we have in store for us. So, in case this is the first time you watch any of these videos beforehand, I don't always do one of these videos, but occasionally they do these server maintenance announcements with interesting patch information, and we cover that information. You can always find it at PSO2 or NGS.ps2.com or ps2.com/players. Worst case scenario, if you want to go ahead and read through it yourself, it'll be linked in the video description. So let's get started on this process. So we've got the system updates, class skill adjustments, fighter adjustments. So class skill adjustments. The following adjustments will be made to the fighter class skills. Defeat advantage increases down potency when used with main class. Interesting. So they're increasing the main class specific potency of it. I don't remember if it already did more for main class versus subclass, but I guess they're making it even stronger. Overload increases potency and increase the effect duration. You know, funny enough, I said this. We were looking at, I was talking with Kathy about this during the recording of their podcast. So in case you guys missed that, check it out when it pops up. I'll make sure to leave an announcement for that when it does come up. But they mentioned like, oh yeah, well, you know, they showed overload with short cycle, and without short cycle. I was like, I think they might have just increased the duration on short cycle, and they did. They increased the duration on overloads, short cycle, and on regular overload. So I believe it increased by double, because short cycle previously it was like 15 seconds, I believe they had it up, and then when they used it again, it was 30 seconds. So I'm assuming that it doubled its length, which is actually pretty dope. They also increased the potency for overload, which is even crazier when you think about it. Overload after PP preservation increased the effect duration. Fighter arts pursuit increased potency. Dagger impact increased shockwave potency and shockwave velocity, which is interesting. So not only is it going to do more damage, it's going to be faster. Deadly archer increased deadly archer's potency, expanded the range, and changed specifications to the distance. Retreated after attacking can be reduced by inputting forward. Oh, nice. So you don't actually like fly backwards anymore after you use it. So it's not really weird for positioning. That's actually dope. Spiral drive, increase the movement distance, change specifications to the distance. Retreated after attacking can be reduced. Okay, it's the same thing with spiral drive as Deadly Archer. Okay, super dope, super dope. So those are the class specific changes. Let's look at the weapon changes. Dagger adjustments. Added an omnidirectional guard point to the 4th step of dagger normal. Interesting. I mean, you do hit the 4th normal attack, since they do have the way to skip. They have their skip arts thing they can do for skills into normals. Change specifications for the 4th step of dagger normal attacks, that when attacking midair with an enemy within certain distance, the height of ascended will be adjusted to the target's height. It also has vertical tracking on the 4th normal. Nice. It does make sense because of the way the attack goes. You would think that it would kind of move you up. So interesting. Increased potency of Twin Dagger's Photon Blast. That'll be interesting to see how much that's gone up, if it's actually going to be worth using. Increase the approach distance and speed of Twin Dagger's Photon Blast when activated. While a target is present, relax the vertical approach angle for Twin Dagger's Photon Blast, and change specifications for Twin Dagger's Photon Blast so that when attacking on the ground, the target or the character will chase the target into the air. Okay, so they're basically adding vertical tracking, making it so daggers have the ability to stay on top of their target a lot easier. It already kind of felt like it was supposed to be what they did anyway, so it's good to hear that they're actually making that better. We'll have to see what that's going to be like after the update itself. Keep in mind, guys, these aren't out yet. These are just like they do like this whole prelim patch note thing where they do patch notes, like major patch notes, the day beforehand if there is any information that's important to go ahead and let people know about. But yeah, so and then adjust the twin dagger photon blast to allow movement while the attack is active. That's pretty cool. Can you do that with many photon blasts these days? I don't know that you can, actually. Huh. Well, jelly of that one. Anyway, they got one PA adjustment for circling buzzard, increased the potency and adjusted the potency distribution. So they made it stronger, but they also moved how the damage is actually done. Expanded the attack range of the second half of the attack, adjusted forward guard of the second half of the attack to be omnidirectional and extended. So I'm like of the opinion this whole like omnidirectional guard for everyone isn't really the best thing, honestly. Like, I think it's okay for things to be forward guard if you allow them to just be good forward guard. Omnidirectional guard seems a little silly, especially when you have classes like Hunter that were supposed to be kind of specialists with omnidirectional guard, and then you just kind of gave it to everyone a little bit. But I mean, to each his their own. It's a lot of people do like the whole concept of omnidirectional guard, and I feel like what's more important is class feel and like overall fun than balance. So it is what it is. I just personally think it should be something that's more specific to them, and then like everyone else gets their forward guard, but under certain circumstances, certain things can happen, so on and so forth, right? And I say that as someone who plays Soaring Blades, who does have an omnidirectional guard, but it literally is one of the most what's what I'm looking for here? Conditional based guards in the entire freaking game. So yeah. Anyway, double saber adjustments. Didn't get a lot. The following adjustments we made to double saber photon arts. Julian dance. Are they messing with Julian dance again? It's funny because anyone who played at the very beginning of NGS knows how broken Julian dance was, and they said, "Oh, it was a bug that had the damage doing." No, it was just coded to be way too strong. That wasn't a bug. You guys just nerfed it. It's okay to say it. It's okay to say it was nerfed. Julian dance. Relax the sidestep cancel timing on the second half. Relax sidestep cancel timing on the second. Did they say the same thing twice? Is this just a typo? Maybe on the first and the second half? Who knows? Relax the turn timing of the final attack in the second half and added a forward guard point for the final attack in the second half. Yeah, see, I don't mind these guard points, so the forward guard points. I feel like they make sense. But omnidirectional guard just seems kind of silly. Knuckle adjustment. Adjusted knuckles weapon action so that players are not moved too close to enemies when attacking the ground on the ground. Oh, okay, nice. That's actually an issue that's happened quite a bit. People complain about. So I like to hear that. I like to hear that. The following adjustments will be made to knuckle photon arts. So all three of four of the photon arts were adjusted. Interesting. So swift rush adjusted to allow movement when inputting left or right while locked on over the shoulder view during action of the first half of the attack. Oh. Okay, swift rush you can move now left or right, either while you're locked on or over the shoulder. Relax the weapon action, cancel timing in the second half. Relax sidestep, cancel timing in the second half. That might be what they meant here. Relax the weapon action canceling and then relax the sidestep canceling. That's probably what they meant. 1,000 blows. They made it so you can cancel out of it easier. The same thing here. Double drive, cancel out of it easier. Weapon action cam timing in the second half. Okay, yep. So you basically can cancel out of it. Much easier, and then relax the jump cancel time. Basically, they made it so you can just cancel out of things, and that swift rush you can move back and left and right, I guess, while you're either locked on or over the shoulder. So that's pretty nice. I imagine if you're not locked on or over the shoulder, it's just going to turn your character that direction. Gunner balance adjustments. So class skill adjustments. Apparently, Gunner also is eating pretty good with some of these changes. So let's see what they got. Chain trigger. Change specifications to increase the down factor of chain finisher. Change the specifications to increase the down factor. Oh, this is something we talked about being an issue. This might be good. Of chain finisher boost according to the chain number. But it does lock them into chain more. So I mean, we'll see. Change the specifications to increase the down factor of chain finisher boost according to the chain number. Increase the increase per chain. So the chain trigger and chain increase, it looks like it makes it so it just does more down factor now. Chain specifications so that a special armament is equipped while chain boost is active. The attack. Hang on. Chain specifications. So if a special armament is equipped when chain boost is active, the attack speed, level up, and remaining effect duration are restored to their previous values upon equipping them. Yeah, this is. So yeah, we saw this. So they made it so chain boost essentially pauses whenever you go into an armament. So if you go into your Mars or a cannon or something along those lines, it's going to pause it, and then it goes back to what it was beforehand when you jump out of it. So this is really, really good. Chain trigger recount retain. Increase the chain number of the next activated chain trigger when chain ends without a chain finisher boost. So this is going to make it so whenever you don't finish with your chain trigger finish, you start out at the higher chain trigger. I'm not sure how much higher, but we'll see. Stylish onslaught. Increase potency. Ooh, stylish onslaught's getting above. Increase potency, increase charge amount of hail of bullets gauge, expand the attack range, increase movement distance when the enemy is within a certain distance, change specifications to activate invulnerability when nullifying an attack. Oh. Change specifications to activate the effects of the following class skills when nullifying an attack. It now works with E-Chain Boost Advance, E-Stylish Roll Counter Bullet, E-Stylish Roll Strike Back, and E-Stylish Roll Advance. This is massive. This is really good. Okay, hold on. I don't know how much this affects the overall I mean, like, so some things I know people maybe aren't the biggest fans of, but I'm not sure if it affects the overall playstyle of Gunner off the top of my head. And this is something that I've spoken with my buddy Helvian about, and I ask him usually because I'll be perfectly honest, he's one of the better gunners I know. Both Helvian and MKP are the two gunners I know really, really well, and Helvian is like really, really good at playing gunner. And MKPs are also very good at playing gunner, but they both kind of agree in the situation itself is gunner's not lacking on damage from what I can tell. It's just it has a ramp up, which is annoying, that you can lose, which apparently was changed by chain boost, and chain trigger recount's supposed to help out with that a bit. And its down factor is just not great, but it looks like that's being baked into chain trigger and chain trigger increase a bit more, so that's not a bad thing. So it looks like it's actually being addressed, which is something I do like to see. Strike Back Advance. Extend the vulnerability duration at the start of the PA charge, and then Stylish Roll Counter Bullet. Increase the hit count and adjusted the potency distribution. So more hits and adjusted potency distribution. Let's see if this actually does what we need it to do for Gunner. I'm not 100% sure, but a big part about Gunner, though, is that Gunner does feel pretty bad to play solo. A lot of that has to do with the down factor situation and then, of course, the build-up time. So hopefully this means you can build up fairly quickly and the down factor situation isn't nearly as bad. Toy machine guns balance adjustments. The following adjustments are made to toy machine gun photon arts. Aimless range. Adjust the specifications so there's no forward movement during an attack. Adjust the specifications so there's no forward movement during an attack, but to instead move to the direction of the input. Okay, so aimless range, you can now move the direction that you want to go whenever you're using it. That's really nice. Okay, cool. And then point blank, increase its potency, adjusted potency distribution. Increase the movement distance when a target is present while locked on or over the shoulder. Increase movement speed when inputting and movement during the attack. Adjusted to prevent moving too close to the enemy when inputting movement during an attack. So basically, there was an issue. This happened with Fighter and with Gunner as well. And some other classes, I'm not sure how many other classes it happened with, but them like specifically because they have like really big hits that push you right on top of your target. But essentially what would happen is they would almost move through their targets even if they were locked onto them, and the attack would whiff. So they're trying to go through and change that for a lot of classes that had that problem. Waker adjustments. So Gunner so far sounds good. I'll have to ask Gunners myself, but I know for a fact down factor was an issue for Gunner. They just didn't build a whole lot of it. And another big problem was ramp up time. So the thing is this doesn't really address the first chain. Well, I guess in a sense it kind of does, because you can boost the chain a little bit faster. With number of hits being increased in certain on certain abilities and things like that. Stylish Onslaught, for example. I believe they said that, right? I missed that. Expand the range, increase movement distance. Vulnerability, specification, activate these. I guess it didn't. I might be bugging. Yeah, here we go. Stylish Roll Counter Bullet has its hit number or hit count adjusted, or has increased hit count. But like that first chain might still be kind of It just might be now that as long as you're actively playing, it doesn't feel nearly as bad. That might be it. Yeah, it might be that like now that you're as long as you're actively playing in a quest, and not feel nearly as bad. So it also depends on how much the trigger count regain is. So like it could be a situation where you build your trigger very, very high, and maybe either you don't detonate it because you don't know how the next target's coming up, or you detonate it and it's okay. But we'll have to see how that actually works out when we get in game. Waker adjustments. So this is actually Waker's expansion, funny enough. The funny thing too is that like I know a lot of people are like, oh, it seems like they stole the show from Waker, but like I didn't expect Waker to get a whole lot. Now granted, I don't know the exact details of the things Waker might really need right now, like what Waker could really use. But other than watching Marmello just randomly curve when being thrown every once in a while, I don't know that Waker needed a lot of things to be fixed or changed, right? And the funny thing is that Slayer's also on that docket as well. And other than Slayer just being kind of boring from a class identity perspective, like its whole identity is that it attacks fast and it does like it crits, which is kind of funny because that's actually similar to a class I play in Final Fantasy 14. It's just based on fast attacking is kind of its identity. And I like it. So maybe other people do for Slayer. Who knows? Maybe just if you like the weapon, you like that sort of style. I'm not sure. But either way, what I'm trying to say is that these classes came out much later and are better designed and a lot of times than some of the previous classes we've had. So I'm not sure exactly how much they really need. So it might have affected how much they got. As the following adjustments will be made to Waker class to class skills. So familiar support expanded the enemy search range and improved homing ability. Nice. Marmello Strike increased stage 2's potency when successfully nullifying an attack. That's really good. So one thing you want to do with Marmello in general is blocking an attack and going into a Marmello throw, essentially. Whenever you get, I think it's 2 stacks, I want to say. So yeah, the stage 2 potency makes sense. Whenever you get up to 2 stacks of Marmello's block itself is kind of like a fluid motion. That ability that you block, almost wanting to go immediately into a throw unless you need to hold it for a specific reason. That way you're like kind of doing one fluid motion. That way you're not holding on. You have to do an extra input or extra frames, I guess you can call it, to go ahead and get that Marmello throw. So increasing the stage potency, the stage 2 potency when successfully nullifying an attack is actually pretty nice. So you'll see it. Marmello Strike tracing, improved homing ability. If this is Marmello's homing and them saying, hey, we made it so he doesn't roll off into the distance for no reason. Because I mean, I promise you, I've watched people send me clips, and if Uber is in the comments at any point in time in this, he will even tell you and link over to clips for you. And honestly, if he links in the comments section, I may just pin the comment for you guys and like allow it through. It's probably not gonna be allowed through via YouTube, but he can probably send it to me directly and I'll pin a comment for you guys. But we have seen multiple times of Marmello being thrown and watching it look directly at the target and just curve off to the left and leave. Like not accidentally turn over, like it literally looked like you had thrown a curveball that went forward and just veered off to the left. It's hilarious to watch. Anyway, Marmello Strike tracing, improved homing ability. Hot Marmello parry, reduced cooldown time, which is nice. I mean, okay, as someone who is like, I get to block during PAs is kind of a thing that Bouncer does. I don't know why Hot Marmello parry is so specific. Like, its cooldown time should be pretty low. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to spam it during a PA and have it active at every single moment, but like maybe make it so after you input the next PA, you reset the cooldown on Hot Marmello parry. You get like one free parry essentially during your PA itself that you're going to be doing. I think that's okay. But it's probably to not have it be too in line with Soaring Blade's block that it has that resets every time you get a block. And ours also, you know, resets whenever you start a PA. Just that way you always have it for each PA itself. I think that's probably why they don't do that just yet. But honestly, I still feel like that needs to be adjusted and give them the ability to do something like this. I feel like that'd be much, much better. Harmonizer adjustments. So increase turning speed during activations of step 1 to 3 of Harmonizer normal attack. Increase turning speed during activations of the attack performed when Harmonizer's normal attack is held down. That's cool. So turning speed. Basically, it makes you a little less stiff. Made weapon action cancel timing more lenient for the attack performed when Harmonizer's normal attack is held down. Sets up cancel timing for the same thing. Omnidirectional guard point to the attack performed when Harmonizer's normal. So, okay, so they have now a guard point. Omnidirectional guard point whenever you do the held normal. So you're able to held normal into attacks, which is actually pretty nice for consistent uptime and the ability to keep moving forward. It would have been nice to see that if they made that, what's I'm looking for? Actually, no, this is much better. If it's an omnidirectional guard point, then you probably can still press Hot Marmello parry during it if you have it available and you want to build up your Marmello stacks. Because ideally, you don't want to have anything be in the way of your Marmello stacks. It's kind of like for Bouncer. I'm going to make a lot of Bouncer comparisons. That's what I know the most, by the way. Kind of like for Bouncer, where if we get iframes, we can't really guard something while we're in an iframe. Exactly. And you can, but you can't. It's like you have to guard something first and then get the iframe. But something like, Pinion, where you're totally invulnerable during it, you actually want to be able to guard things. So this giving you an omnidirectional guard point as opposed to giving you an iframe means that they're able to go ahead and utilize their hot Marmello pair if it's available to still build up their what's the word I'm looking for? The Marmello bar thingy. So that's pretty dope. If that's how it works. If it doesn't, then maybe I'm talking on my butt. Who knows? Increased animation speed of the attack perform when Harmonizer normal attack is held down. Oh, so it's faster now too. Neat. Added launch and knockback resistance. Okay, so that ability got they made it so you're able to turn faster and cancel it easier. It has an omnidirectional guard. It has not launch and knockback resistance. Wait, it has an omnidirectional guard and it has launch and knockback resistance. So if you just happen to do it incorrectly, like you don't get the timing just right, you still don't get knocked back. So that's kind of fair. Yeah, fair and balanced. And on top of that, they made it faster. So nice. Okay, adjustments we made to the Harmonizer Photon Arts. Fredrin Breath. Increase maximum lock-ons for the follow-up attack. Increase turning speed during... Wait, for the follow-up attacks. Wait, is holding Fredrin Breath now actually... They might... I joked around saying they might have made Waker worse in Dex-based. But did they make it better? Is held Fredrin Breath now the better choice instead of spamming? Because it increases maximum lock-ons for it? I don't know. I'm actually kind of interested to find out about that. Fredrin, easing the firing angle of attack when the button is not held down. Okay, that's nice of them. Wolf and Demolition, increase the turning speed during activation of the second half of the attack performed when the button is not held down. Increase turning speed activation of the first stage of the charge attack and the second stage of the charge attack. Okay. Turning speed increases basically eased firing angle and then increased lock-on and turning speed of the follow-up attack. So pretty dope. We also have Tech Arts customization adjustments that happen for TMGs. Interesting. So let me go back really quick and talk about Waker fast. Like I mentioned, Waker I don't think really needed a whole lot, and I can't really think of off the top of my head what Waker really suffered with, other than just Marmello not working occasionally. So it's good to see that they're addressing at least some homing situations, because holy crap, dude, watching the homing strikes of Marmellos go off into the distance is, I mean, it's funny for me, but I feel pain for the Wakers have to deal with that situation. So Marmello has woken up, dude. Wokage. Either way, moving on, we have TMG Tech Arts customizations. So aimless rain, adjusted type 1 to always maximize potency increase based on the distance. Adjusted type 1 to always maximize potency increase based on the distance. Gunner mains are going to have to sound off in the comments below to really give me an idea of how important this is or how impactful this is, I guess. And then that's most of the class changes. So overall, I like it. Yes, Fighter did seem to get most of the changes, but I'll be honest, Fighter needed more changes. During their expansion, a lot of things that people had grimes and grief with, like they just didn't get addressed. And this seems to address a lot more of those things in general. I still think it's a little weird how Overload works. I do miss the days of Overload just bringing your HP down to like 25%. I think realistically, that's more so what it should still do. The fact that it just it makes you take a bunch more damage, kind of makes it anti-synergy with EX augments. I think it'd be really, really cool if we had EX augments, or if we had it working the way it did previously, and the EX augments that take advantage of it. Imagine not needing maintain balance to proc shortage HP. That'd be really, really cool. And then imagine even going into a situation of maybe even resetting your overloads, making it so you're in overload more often, even if it's in shorter cycles, pressing the button more often, things like that. And it'd be interesting to see if they had some sort of like nuke they could press after overload is ending, similar to that of Bravers, where they have their nuke to press. But I mean, they probably want it to be different, so it is what it is. It's something that I personally would like to see. Granted, I'm not a Fighter main, so Fighter mains, feel free to sound off in the comments. How do you guys feel about what I've read so far and the changes that we see? Apparently, Fighter and Gunner are both eating pretty freaking well. So I'm happy to see it. I said flat out, I was like, hopefully they give them some more than just the couple of things that we talked about. And the funny thing is, they didn't even mention the thing that we saw the most, which was, where is it? Is maybe they did get mentioned? I just kind of went over it. Get advantage, short cycle. Oh yeah, no, they did. They did. It's just so short, it really can't even tell. Fighter Arts Pursuit increased its potency, apparently by a lot, like by a crap ton. I'm told that the damage increase that we saw in the video was Arts Pursuit, and it was over. Basically, it was like double the damage increase. It went from 20k to like 44k, which, since it didn't crit, we can assume that variance has to play a role. We don't know how much their variance stat actually is, but that is easily double damage with a difference in variance. So yeah, that's pretty substantial with Fighter Arts Pursuit. Again, I'm not 100% sure how, like, exactly how much of an increase it is, but it seemed like it's a pretty powerful increase. So dope. I'm really happy to see it. Hopefully gunners and fighters both are getting the changes that they're looking forward to. And as I've said beforehand, SEGA may not always get it right, but they will always swing. Occasionally they do miss, but they do always try to swing at the very least. And it seems like they might have actually hit here. So moving on, we have a couple of other things here in the mix too. Hit detection for the arms of the falling enemies have been adjusted. Fortos laser, Fortos launcher, and okay, I mean that's nice. An HP gauge will now be displayed for boss enemies. This is really good. This is huge actually. Some parts of boss enemies like Malignant Dark Falls will now be displayed on the radar map. Oh, neat. So you can see parts of him that, okay, nice. For boss enemy, I'm trying to, like, you guys can tell, like, my brain was trying to wrap his around like exactly what they're referring to specifically, but that's actually pretty dope. Boss enemies, Crocodilus and Crocodilus Vera, throw actions that hit while enemies reacting will now be counted in the number of hits. Okay, so yeah, this was a problem beforehand, that if the enemy was doing stuff, specific actions, the throw items that you would throw didn't count towards certain things. Specifically, Crocodilus is important because, like, you throw his teeth back at him and it would, like, freeze his mouth open, and then, like, he would try to blow it up and he would knock himself down and all that stuff. People hit a weak spot. Those things just didn't work under certain actions. Now it looks like they do all the time, so that's really nice to see. That doesn't mean he's gonna be nuked even harder. It wasn't that he wasn't nuked hard enough before in the first place. This is more so like for casual players. They don't really know about the exact actions that you can't throw those on. It's kind of annoying, to be perfectly honest. He's probably going to show back up in LTQ fairly soon, which is why they're making this change. Or God forbid in the in the Alter Realm combat zones in the future. Quest and field, change specifications for the quest info reward display and quest rewards details. If the first clear rewards has already been obtained, its displayed priority will be lowered. Okay, I mean, still not what I wanted. I want them to change it so that the display of the quest rewards just shows all of the quest rewards that you get in that quest. Because so far there's nowhere that does that. It doesn't do that. Like, I know the there's like the feature rewards, there's the first time rewards, but they don't show all of the possible rewards. I feel like they need to go ahead and get that done. And honestly, it'd be really cool if we got percentages, but that's asking a lot. At the very least, we provide that information so that we can, like, on a wiki or something. Change specifications for the impact menu of certain quests so that the retire from quest option will now be available when playing solo. Dope. And then end of maintenance, all urgent quests and steel will be changed to urgent quest and the stars fell D2. Of course, we expected that. Interface change. Change the number of digits available for inputting battle power, level restrictions in the recruitment settings and menu under recruit party members. This doesn't get used nearly as much as it should, but it also just isn't really as prevalent or present as I'd want it to be. I think we probably need to go back to putting down the party party markers on the ground that players are so used to. Having a button pop up on your screen is kind of annoying, but having a marker on the ground, players can just kind of walk up to at the start of quests. I think, like, while I think the current version is technically better, I don't think it's better for NGS players or PSO2 players in the first place. I think having the marker on the ground is just easier for other players to see and conceptualize. For the DPS display, the numbers will now be left aligned. The maximum number of digits that can be displayed has been increased. They're trying to prepare themselves for as we get stronger. People are already starting to crack through that DPS thing, and it's getting kind of silly. Following changes have been made to the victory performance setting and the emote select unlock selection of the lookbook. Emotes currently selected another cursor to play a preview button. Okay, that's pretty cool. Trying to, like, see if there's anything that's really important Limited tab tasks. Okay, this is priority situations. LG1 rarity has been added to the auto sell. We already knew that was going to be the case. Accidentally selling a Legend Dios that you wanted to keep is going to be a little suspect. Leaf party has been added to the customization. Ooh, that's actually nice. Okay. Item name will not be displayed up on the second tab of the item under multi. Yeah, this is something that people asked for, essentially because they don't want to buy a multi-weapon that wasn't multi-weapon with the same weapon itself, as it doesn't show the same weapon unless you do multi-weapon it with it. If you use something like the multi-weapon substitute, it shows the multi-weapon substitute whenever they switch over to use another weapon. I mean, that never really mattered because I always use camos for mine, because like I'm just not going to buy two friggin' Krez weapons. I'm just going to buy my one and then buy the multi-weapon substitute and then slap on a camo for the jet boots. I don't really use boots normally anyway, so that's just me personally. We'll have to see how that works for everyone else. Change specifications of the salon log window. Change chat features are now available. This is really, really cool. So you can chat in the salon now. That's happening. Dope. Display method for some messages in the salon have been changed. It's funny enough, some people were like, oh, what about the salon chat thing, right? People were getting upset because I hadn't mentioned it. They said they were working on it. It was going to be the next update, and there it is. So even if it doesn't get mentioned in follow-up announcements, just know that if they mention that they're already working on it, it's already being implemented. Usually you tend to see it within the month. Items. Added the following items in the product list. So we got the Trunkle Almaty, the Revita Almaty, the Revelcoat Almaty, and the Alsync Almaty. Cool. 13-star Vulcan series weapons have been added to the product list of the exchange shop under equipment upgrade level 2. So the Vulcan upgrade has been added in for us to go ahead and chase after. Those of you guys who are using those weapons, go ahead and get started on upgrading your weapons. They can now be a bit stronger. We can also go over how strong those weapons are, and I plan to go into a video talking about both variants of them, the original as well as the upgraded version, and how powerful it is comparatively to things like our Krez and so on and so forth. Added new product to the added to the product list, the exchange under purchase build parts, new build parts, of course, legacy stuff. This is like things we already kind of knew were coming, so we're gonna kind of skip over some of these here. Other specification changes. This is AC Shop adding new line strike cards, support effect visuals and line strike on the battle opponents. Okay, nothing too crazy. Again, nothing that's really all that important. Then some bug fixes. Let me go ahead and scan these bug fixes 1 sec. Okay, so I mean, this is good, but I'm a little concerned that it took this long to fix, because I feel like this has been a bug, and I might be thinking of a different bug. I remember there being a bug when the Braver class expansion update came out, but fixed a bug with the Braver class skill after combat PA extension, where under certain circumstance or certain conditions, the effect of increased gauge charge for photon bow attack impact was not applied when using a multi-weapon. It's concerning that it took this long to fix if this is the bug I'm thinking it is. You guys might remember what that bug is. Or this might have been a new one that popped up after an update or something along those lines. So you guys will have to let me know in the comments. All right, and that's pretty much it. That covers all the important information. There weren't any other, I mean, there are important bugs. You guys, again, can read through them on your own. I'll leave a link in the description. You feel free to check them out, as well as other specification changes and things like that. Yeah, we just basically skipped over. I could read through them all, but you're more than welcome to check them out on your own if you'd like to. We have the patch information or the server maintenance schedule for you guys. So it is the 5th, meaning servers will go down at 7 p.m. EDT. They go up at 4 a.m. So expect the update video to go live probably around 5 or 5:30 roughly. So servers go live at 4. We'll go ahead and try to get that out as quick as we can. And the servers do go down at 7. So as of the time of me recording this video, you have less than 3 hours. Likely by the time this video goes up, you have less than 2 hours. So just be aware, get the stuff done that you need to get done. Keep in mind some things are expiring. You want to go ahead and knock out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, sub if you want to keep up with more. As always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.